This is your daily market review for Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka The Trading Agent, is your daily market review for Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. If you've been paying attention to the channel, we talked about options expiration action. We talked about potentialities and all sorts of things that said, if you have been long the market, you need to start taking risk off, raising your stops, and being very careful, because that's the thing. Risk happens fast. I don't think people realize how much risk is kind of not baked into the cake at this point, and why there's a lot to talk about. So if you're new, check this out. Please check out the levels. We're going to talk about levels, thoughts, ideas, and what to expect moving forward. So as we know, the middle of July, mid-OPEX this week, we've talked about down and up, kind of to kill the options action. Are you not surprised that, they killed the puts to start the week? Now they, killed calls, killed puts, and now they killed all the calls. Now the rest of the week is going to be interesting, because typically, you're going to get premium burn at some point, either Thursday or Friday at some point. And so if you're short and you went into this, again, this is what we talked about, layering into the trades. If you took them, high five, leave a comment below. I appreciate you guys. Love all hearing all the great stories. And if you didn't take any shorts, then you need to wait for bounces. And again, people are like, well, short the only direction. Well, this is why you need to watch the video to check out the evidence, and you make your own decision. Again, define your risk. Nothing certain, but do not chase. Always let things come to you. It's just like shorting at the highs, buying the lows. Is it always going to, again, especially if you're layering into a trade, does it have to absolutely explode right off the start? I mean, that's your hope. Again, check out the Discord room, link description below. Posted a ton of trades on the Twitter. Hit me up if you want to chat. Had some good conversations with Randy today. Again, a lot of people I think who are newer want to check this out. Please don't hesitate to book a chat. I mean, I don't mind spending time with you guys, because again, you share to help, and at some point I might call you and ask you for something, because again, everyone becomes a friend. That's the goal. 20 eyes, 30 sets of eyes, all in the Discord room doing big work. Again, check out the website. Recommended readings, Remnant as a Stock Operator. I'm amazed how many people have not read this book. If you've not read this book and you've been trading, you literally are missing the golden nugget. But I'm not surprised. Again, they want to make the masses a herd of sheep to get slaughtered. If you understand how the market works, these are the only books you need. Again, check out the website. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Oh, what's up, Pace? Got to see him in person. Yeah, education videos. Anyone who's new, again, I'm always amazed. Like, people ask questions like, don't be an asshole. There's a video pretty much on everything. Literally on everything. Check it out. All right, so what do we know? Fed watch tools. Obviously, the rate cut. And I've been on record saying this, that it's not till September, but the only way it happened in July is what? What? That you're going to have to... Sorry, I got distracted with a text. We know that going into the September meeting, yeah, the rate cut is coming. But if there's a 50 basis point cut, that's the thing. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, if the market, if they start cutting rates, it's because things are slowing down. And then you throw in Trump, who said today he should not, Powell should not cut before the election. If he does, he's losing his job. But if he doesn't, we always know that the 6 to 9 month lag time for interest rate cuts is a bitch. Why? Because that's usually when it's going to kick in. These higher rates are going to slow the economy. And again, if unemployment rises 6, 7, 8% before the election, yikes. As we talked about, we know what's going on. We know the market and the economy are slowing. The data says it, the earnings say it. But again, the market sometimes isn't the economy, and the economy is not the market. We've talked about that. So be careful. Bitcoin, I apologize. I know it's going to go right to oil. I restarted my computer, or it automatically restarted. Of course, it didn't save anything, but that's just the nature of the beast. All right. Bitcoin, talked about this, wanting to see a range test high. Again, this is what's so hard, and I've said this, and I've been waiting for this. When the VIX picks up, the market gets smashed, then you can pick up things on a discount. Will Bitcoin hold up? Will gold hold up? This is the hardest part, and I've tried to warn folks. Again, when they liquidate everything, forced liquidation happens everywhere. Margin calls, it gets kind of crazy. So that's why I don't want to chase long. But however, if you've been long, raise your stops. It's been trading in a range. That's all I need to know. Oil, got a bounce today. I can't help the Feds out. I just can't. We've talked about this, what's going on. We've talked about this. It's just, again, the best time to buy this stuff will be when the Feds go into the pivot mode, start flushing liquidity. And again, oil is economically sensitive, so let it come down. Natural gas, same thing as we talked about. If you traded this, you've been following the channel, you've been freaking killing natural gas and love it. Talked about the head and shoulders bottom. We talked about the, range lows. Talk about waiting for it to pull back. There you go. We'll talk about more KOLD, UNG stuff here and shortly. But again, I'm just trying to preface this, and I'm going to stay on record and warn people, please, for the love of God, be careful chasing anything. The VIX 13, 14 is not a big damn deal. It's not a puke. Dollar, again, is the economic data. It weakens. Seasonally, the housing data was crap, in my opinion. Not surprised, making lower lows. Watch, and again, man, sucks is that all my stuff didn't save. Computer auto restart. Watch these mid 28s. TLT, as we've talked about, I bought the TLT leveraged names today. I'm like, why not? If the market's going to start melting back, people will find safety in treasuries, or at least historically for the last 200 whatever something years have, right? But let's keep an eye on this, right? Like, I think the trade is easy with defined risk. People are like, well, how are you playing it? I was buying UBT today. Like, it's the leveraged, ultra leveraged, whatever, TLT, right? I mean, again, I don't know how high this thing will run, but I like the potentiality of it. I mean, I think we'll get back into those levels now. Remember, this is, those were extreme rate lows. But again, I would love, was this thing around in the 2008? I don't think it was. I'd love to see, again, I'll take a 20, 30, 40% gain on this, especially with stock and sell cover calls. VIX, here we go. We talked about this getting a little dicey down here. We said, watch when you get the gap ups, because when you get the gap up, something usually follows. Now going into the rest of the week, tough to know what's going to happen with OPEX. But again, if you're short, cool. If you're long, you better raise your stops. Be careful. And again, I personally think, again, if this is a real start of a market melt-off, 14 VIX says nothing's happened yet. Nothing. Literally nothing. VIVIX, as we talked about, was waking up. Sorry, yeah, VIVIX. Oops, yeah, didn't save. Oh, I didn't save any of my lines, so I'm going to be drawing. We talked about how it's making higher lows. There you go. Pop, pops, fizz, what a relief it is. SPY. Oh, yeah, there'll definitely be none of my lines were saved on this one. We talked about watching this, 563 area. You got to the top of the range. Now we professional gap down. Rut row raggy. You got to be careful with pro gaps, because, again, they happen at bottoms and tops when the direction changes. Now, people argue this is a pro gap, right? Yeah, this looked like it. Okay, this is where, again, the probabilities just be on red alert, right? This is a big gap down, y'all. So at worst, you're going to go sideways. Maybe you get to the 20-day, or we're about to start some big down. And here's the thing. The reason why I think the big down is because the QQQ has finally started lagging. The leaders are not leading anymore. And that is going to scare the shit out of the market. Excuse my language. Talk about it lagging. Was the IWM went nuts and said, be careful yesterday. I said at some point, I didn't think it was going to happen this week, the 20-day was going to break, or the 20-day was going to be tested, right? I'm sorry, again, all my freaking charts didn't get saved. I was like, 20-day makes sense. Like, getting back into here. Boom. Gap down. Risk happens fast. Now I roll with 20-day. I don't know why we wouldn't continue. Again, this has been the leader. And when the leaders start lagging, you got to be careful. And then when we talked about the laggards start leading, you got to be careful. We talked about the IWM, like the best move in years compared to the S&P 500. Everybody's rolling into it, and people are buying calls. I'm like, are you fudging high? How high are you? Look at this, right? Right? Not cool. Now we doji out. Again, Dia holding up today again, some of the Dow names. Again, keep an eye on this stuff. Again, there's some bifurcation in the market, some changing divergences. Just ten cuidado. Gold, as we've talked about, I love gold. Love gold for the long term. But talk about the seasonality. You usually get a July pop. Do I trust it? Again, if the market starts melting, it opened high, everyone was running into it. This is where I said yesterday and the day before, like, silver is not giving me that warm, fuzzy feeling. And it didn't today at all. We talked about the miners potentially trapping, being careful. Okay. Again, they better hold up, because if not, the miners will get absolutely snapped. They will get snapped in half. That's what happens when they throw the baby out with the bathwater. And these candles today do not look that amazing, right? AEM holding up. Again, these are names we like for the long term, little inside day. AG pops it up, gives it all back. Be careful. We've seen this before, but is it about to be Fugly, that's the question you got to ask yourself. Newmont held up pretty well. Again, we like these names for the long run. Again, you come back in time, you're probably going to be fine. But near term, I would be scared shitless. And again, excuse my language, but I would be. I would not be just holding blindly. Again, raising your stops. Maybe you sell some cover calls. Maybe you do the Buffett method. You just, sell some calls, collect some premium, hope that it chops around. If it pulls back again, the deeper the money in the cover, deeper in the money, the cover call, the safer it is. PAAS. Again, we like these names, but let them play out. All right. Taiwan Semi, we talked about, you got to be high out of your mind to buy this. They have earnings tomorrow during the day. Talked about chop top. You're welcome. Micron said watch the 130s after the gap down on earnings. You're welcome. Again, all very lucrative trades. AMD. Now, this one was a little trickier as we talked about holding trend line. Oh, man, it didn't save. Then coming into these levels. Again, I'm just drawing on the fly to catch up. Then we fail. Yikes. Trend line. I mean, this stuff could, the longer this chops out for, the bigger the move, y'all. Hence why you gotta be careful. NVIDIA said this was the easiest short on planet Earth. And you know why it was? Because everyone thought it was the best long in the world. We tried to warn you guys. It's not like it wasn't already up huge. And everybody, again, distribution at the highs. Distro. Everybody buying at the highs. After the move has already happened, pump. Said, be careful. Now I said, watch. This gap right here is going to get filled. 50-day seems likely. Now, again, if you bought the NVDS in the low 30s, you're feeling good because now it's at 42. Hit 43 at one point today. Not a bad freaking trade. SMCI, as we talked about. Again, I wouldn't have shorted it. This wasn't the ideal one. Got to the range highs. But guess what? Again, I will say this, and I'll probably say this another dozen times. They would throw the baby out with the bathwater. Again, I like this company. I think there's nothing really wrong with it. But again, if you are long it, you have to take profits. You have to roll stops. You need to buy puts. You need to hedge. We talked about this. Intel, here we go. Gets a nice pop up. This is going to be the darling, potentially, if Trump wins. Oops. Look at that damn candle with volume. Ouch. People are talking about bullish, and I'm like, keep it on it. Because again, here's the 11th time. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Not confirmed. All right, double top. SMH, real simple. Keep it simple, y'all. Those candles are absolutely devastating. Big gaps, downs, big reds. Like, it's the same thing as an exhaustion or the start of a big up move. Like, when everyone chases, all of a sudden it's been chop. You gap up. That's the thing, right? Now it's in reverse, and it looks fucking ugly. Fugly. Again, Adobe. Oh, man. Sucks when all my levels got erased and I didn't think about it. Here you go. Watching. Again, any retest, fail. Apple said this yesterday. This felt like a novice gap. Felt like this was a novice gap trap at the highs. Again, the volumes aren't that huge, so I would be, it's could it be holding up into earnings? But again, they add $8 billion of revenue from India. Now everybody's getting excited. It's like it's cookies on their balance sheet. Amazon, as we talked about, the 200 level was going to be importante. Bezos couldn't sell fast enough every time he got up there. Going into Prime Day, buy the rumors, sell the news. Ouch. You better hold the 100-day. Meta, as we talked about, this thing was done, cooked. Looked like looked like a bull trap. Breakout, fake out. Said once the 150-day, 20-day broke, 150-day, pow. Next support is going to be down here at the gap. Again, all these names, do not chase them. Just like I said, do not chase the up, do not chase the shorts. You gotta, again, let trades come to you. You gotta be patient. CRM, we talked about the high being in, gapping down on earnings. That was the capitulation. Talked about the rally back. That doji, again, if you watch previous videos, I apologize, I'm drawing on the fly. That to me looked like the topper. Guggenheim, talked about this one holding up, but even then, 20-day, watching out, chop, give it up. Gotta be careful. Microsoft. We talked about this. Oh man, my left-right combo here. Talk about this right here. Apologize, I'm having to redraw on the fly. You got it. And then said, watch the 20-day. You broke it yesterday, and then you gapped down. Well, the color is green. Well, that's not really important. Look at the price action. It was down $5, $6. That's what matters. Next support for 30s and the AQ. Again, trying to go fast so these videos aren't 70 minutes long. Again, I love the short up here. Love it. I think the NASDAQ composite exchange is going to be dog schnit in the long term. MicroStrategy, again, watch that reference. We talked about it coming back up into the range highs. Congrats again. They're getting added to split. No, they're not. SMCI is getting added to the S&P 500. I apologize. This has got a 10-for-1 split coming. We talked about this upper range bound. Oh, it's so hard to draw sometimes on the fly. There you go. Not surprised. Remember, again, whether you like Bitcoin or not, this is a great avenue for trading it. Great. Netflix, as we've talked about, Netflix and chill or Netflix and spill, broke out, faked out, got earnings tomorrow after the close, near the highs. I mean, I'm amazed that anybody would be buying this. I mean, this is their last earnings, got clobbered after chopping at the high. So, I mean, is it a repeating pattern? I don't know why anyone would be buying this stuff. Like, you literally got to be out of your mind. Again, I don't think there's endless competition. And when you say endless competition, that doesn't mean pricing power is strong. That's why you got to be careful. And look at the move this thing just went on. Right? It goes from like 162 up to 696. 696. Telling you, this is an easy short. Roblox, again, just wait, let it come to you. We talked about this. Man, I'm just sorry, doing a lot of drawing. Said not surprised, oversold bounce, getting up into these 40s. Cool, worth a watch. Pan W. Again, we like this name. We like cybersecurity long term. Talked about watching what happens when it gets up here into this range. Got up there, watching the 20-day high and tight's bullish. It had a wick today, so it's looking better in some names. Tesla, as we talked about, popping to the 265. Oh, this is going to make me draw this all again. You got it. Now be careful. Ten cuidado, because again, I mean, this high and tight's bullish, but this is a big move, guys. It goes from 140 up to 266. That's a big move. Let it play out. Insight, again, holding up. I'm telling you, this company's going to get bought out. Put this in your portfolio and don't think about it. That's all I'm going to say. McDonald's, we talked about this one. Bouncing at the range lows. Little trap down at the bottom, right? Like you make a new low and you rally back. I guess people are buying McDonald's as a hedge. DKNG had the trap pump, right? We talked about this one. Again, I'm drawing all on the flies. Apologize, I didn't do this earlier. Okay. Again, I think this stock has got a lot lower to go, in my opinion. Airbnb, watch it. 200-day, if it breaks, it's gone. Costco, this has been leading up really well, starting to get a little tired here under the 20-day. Starbucks, as we talked about, this thing is a piece of junk. Oh, it's not going to remain. Watching the range lows. If you see this bounce, as we talked about, do you trust it? I mean, we've been bearish on this thing forever, but not going to short it at the lows unless the range breaks. FedEx, look at this monster. Inside Doji Day. Watch tomorrow. That could be a great opportunity for a short. Caterpillar holding up pretty well. Talked about, didn't save my levels again. You asshole. Watching this area. Again, earnings coming up. Nucor earnings coming up next week. Again, this is where you got to be careful. Maybe these were some of the short squeezes, but we talked about holding down here. Chop it around. Nice little bounce. Maybe the 200-day. Again, be careful. X. Nope. Chopping. VALE. Said be careful, right? Chopping. Got nothing on it. Arrow. Again, I like junior copper, but I'm not going to chase up here. I'm glad it's pulling back. CCJ, as I've warned, I hate when Goldman Sachs upgrades the damn highs. It bothers me tremendously because I know what they're doing. They're distributing, and then people buy it up here, and then they get stuck, and here we go. Watch the big red candles. If you follow through, be scared. CF, again, we talked about the ag names bouncing. They got the bounce. Even today, they were up, right? Like, again, now, be careful. 100-day for Mosaic has been crucial. NTR, right? We talked about these range lows. Oh, God, I didn't save anything, right? Range lows holding. Those were the longs. Look at that. Nice and green today on a day where the market got crushed. AA Aeron. Here we go, right? Talked about like aluminum long term. Don't be surprised to pull back. XLF, again, stopped out. This is what stops are for. Again, I'm waiting for something to show me that this is the short. JP Morgan, again, I can't believe you'd be buying banks. Diamond's not buying his own bank, but they're pumping it up. And that's the thing. This is where stops are crucial because shorting is a limited game, right? You can only go, you only can go to zero. Well, if you're wrong short and you just let it go, you can get crushed. Morgan Stanley holding up post earnings. Bank of America getting a little nerve. Again, this is like, we talk about these novice gaps, exhaustion moves. Keep an eye on it. Again, maybe the XLF is time to short later in the week. We'll see. Goldman Sachs, again, holding up. If you bought this, you got a Marcus account. You're looking good. I'd be careful up here. I'm gonna throw these out there. Carry, 10 cuidado. Again, we've talked about, okay, man, it didn't save any of my stuff. Here comes into the no doubt fail zone, right? IWM's in leading up. Junior banks are a big part of the IWM. Everybody's all in, going crazy, thinking that it's time to buy. Okay, cool. Now watch it. Watch it as we come into this spot, come in these areas. Again, if they hold up, great. If it doesn't, it could be an amazing opportunity to short junior banks. Again, we know who carries all the risk. XBI, again, we talked about this was a great trade. If you waited for the 93 breakout and you got it, chopping around. XHB, again, I'm hot, like, I don't know how high you got to be chasing housing, but look at the action. That feels like, again, like if this was like a 10-minute chart, I'd be on red alert, like red alert for a failure. Like bull trap, very easy to identify. All right. Solar names we talked about, they're nothing, just junk, just absolute junk. I mean, there's nothing much to say. Every bounce should be shorted, and I'm talking about every legit short bounce. Now be careful shorting like Sedge. This thing has gotten crushed. If you shorted in 300s like we talked about, congratulations. ENPH, again, I like this. I mean, this stock is still expensive, relatively speaking, but again, watch bounces, then short it. Again, I just don't know if I want to short it mid-range. That's the thing, so just leave it alone. First Solars, we talked about this was due for an oversold bounce. Yikes. Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. Nothing to say on this. I mean, this is like stair-stepping its way down. Oil. Again, holding up. UNG. Again, I hate the UNG. I like viscerally hate this thing. Natural gas is not even back at the range lows on the futures, and this thing is making new lows. Again, the trade is to short the KOLD. And again, if you're looking at it, you're feeling way better now. I mean, again, let this thing get up in the 80s. If you traded this and shorted, so many good damn trades. And again, now you could have shorted it yesterday. We talked about like potentially entry, but again, this is where you layer in. Layer in. And don't go all in. I hate when people do that because again, you haven't even, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. Is it possible they throw away natural gas? Yes. Look at freaking XOP today. Pops up and then they give it right up. Again, oil and gas names. I was watching like MPC. I'm like, wow, that thing is up at 172. Gives it right back. Right? Valero holding up pretty well. Right, I guess. 10 cuidado, right? Chopping around. CVE, again, we like oil and gas long term. It's benefit. I think they will benefit from Trump. We talked about it, but again, if they throw the baby out the bathwater, I still got another 5 times to say it. ExxonMobil, like this is holding up pretty well. Again, names that I like this stuff long term. I'm just not going to chase it. I think there's better shorts in tech. Buffett, we talked about the Buffett just sell zone. Again, he loves to sell covered calls. It's in between. EQT, again, I like these names. But when you zoom out, you see what they are. They're just big consolidation ranges. Just let them play out. Let them play out like big moves. And again, this is part of the game. Last but not least, Flex LNG, because I think we'll be natural gas exporters. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here for you, whether it's real estate, buying, investing, buying, selling, or investing in real estate, whether you're looking at trading. Again, people love to talk about all the different fun things within the market. I'm always here. Love to help you out. Let me know how you need help. Again, have a great evening. Peace. Peace out. Peace in the Middle East.